Hey guys, so now I'm going to show you how to create a module and how to add assignments to your modules. So the first thing you will see when you create a course is the option to create a new module, right? So what you want to do is either click on this icon or just click on the add a module. I'm going to show you the one that I started working on, which is for my advanced listening and speaking class. So, the reason I find modules to be essential and useful is because most of our books are divided into chapters or units, or the syllabus for our class is divided into topics. So, the module just helps keep everything organized and compartmentalized um, for the sake of you know students finding it easy, or for us to have everything organized, because when you start adding assignments without having a module, they tend to be all over the place. So the the good thing about modules is that if students have to go back and review, or if students want to go back and review, everything will be divided by units or by chapter or by topic. Okay, so here's an example of my advanced listening and speaking class. We're working with taboo topics and we have a text, we have a book. And for this upcoming week, we're going to be working with the topics of begging and suing. So I started my module. It's not completed, okay? So I just want to give you an idea of what these could potentially look like. So I started with a discussion forum in which students, I give them a couple of questions, they type in their answers, and then they react to the answers, or they respond to the answers of other classmates, for example. So here, you have the option of dividing these discussions into groups. Right now, I was not able to do that because I don't have any students added to my course. Okay, so once I start putting people into the course, then I can start dividing them for specific assignments. Now, when students reply, they're going to reply on a text entry box similar to this one. Okay, so once they put in their reply, once they answer the questions, that's the first step. Then they have to wait for their classmates to post, and then they respond, react, or just engage in a discussion with at least two of their classmates. The reason I do that and I specify that in my instructions is because this is a discussion forum, and the whole point is for students to communicate with each other, agree or disagree, add on to what one student is saying. So it's very important that once you've created your assignment, that you're very specific about what you expect the student to do. So this one is the easiest one, because again, you just put in a prompt or questions, and then students react. They respond, and then they read what the other one wrote, and then they react to that. Okay, so that is the first task that I have. Um, the next task is a reading. Now the reading is going to segue into our Zoom discussion, right? So here I've included the text, and I've also included questions for students to think about before they go into the live discussion via Zoom. And I've even added our meeting ID for students to have immediate access to our meeting on Zoom. So this is just another example of what an assignment could potentially look like. Here, there's no submission, um, because the students are going to get a grade for participation, and that means that they get a grade for joining the meeting on Zoom and discussing this reading. So that's another um, activity Then I have a language activity. Now this is how I worked with Canvas and Google in the past. It's one of my favorite tools, um, and that is Google Docs or Google Slides, whatever, because as you guys know, students can always go back to that document and edit it if need be. Remember, if students answer via the text entry that I previously showed you, you can edit that, and students cannot go back and edit it unless they delete it and redo it. So the good thing about having them work through Google Docs is that they can always edit their work. Now, I know a lot of students will probably come with different email accounts and they won't have Google, so this may not work for everyone. But here's again an example of another way that you could create an assignment. I give them a poem, they read the poem, and then I give them a worksheet, a language worksheet. And students get to work on it on Google Docs. So we have part one and then we have part two. This could really look, however you want it to look like. And then students get to submit. You see in the submitting, I put file upload, and I'll show you in a separate video how to set up each assignment individually, and the specific in terms of grading and submitting. But I just wanted to show you what your module could potentially look like. So all of these tasks are separate, but they are, it's up to the student to decide which ones they're going to do first. What's important is that you schedule meetings with your students for the live classes. So it is possible that you won't be able to meet with all your students at once. So while you're in a meeting with 3 or 4 students, the other students could be working on either the language part or the discussion part, or the speaking part is one that they get to do independently, which is also a backup plan just in case Zoom doesn't work. You can create for your listening and speaking classes activities or assignments where students get to record themselves either on video or just voice recorder, and then they get to upload the media recording, and then you evaluate their speaking. I'm gonna have this task also, even though I'm hoping that Zoom will work just fine, but regardless, they're going to have an independent speaking activity. So this is just another option, just in case Zoom is not working, specifically for the listening and speaking classes. You can have students record themselves and just upload that media file. Okay, so if I wanted to add more to this module, more assignments, for example, I click where it says new assignment and I can type in writing. Okay, and I add this item. So now the writing assignment has been added to my module, but now I have to edit it, right? Because there's no content, there's no specifications about the submission or points. Okay, so I click on edit, and then on this text entry, I specify what I expect students to do. So just an example. Write a 3-paragraph essay explaining what you would do to fix the issue of homelessness in your country. Okay, again, this is an impromptu assignment. but just to give you an idea. So students now know, okay, that's my assignment. That's what I have to do. I have to write 3 paragraphs, an essay of 3 paragraphs. Now, how many points am I going to give them for this? I'm going to keep it to 100 just because it's easier and I want the grade to come back as percentage. If you put the grade, let's say you give this assignment 25 points and then you put it by points. When this grade goes into your grade book, at first is going to come out as points, but the average grade is going to be percentage, okay? So if you just average everything out and by percentage, it's just going to be easier for students to understand. So I have my points, the percentage, how the grade is going to display. Now, how are students going to submit the assignment? Obviously, they're going to do it online. And for this essay, I can do either text entry or file upload. Now, text entry means that students will get to click on the text entry box and write their essay right then and there. Or students can write it as a document, as a Google document, and then they get as a Word document, as a Pages document, and then they get to upload it as a doc or PDF. Okay, so that's really up to you how you want students to do it. You can also create a Google Docs link for students to, and you can also write the prompt on that link, and students can then submit or upload that doc, okay? This is not a group assignment, so you don't have to click, but here they give you the option. If the assignment is a group assignment, then you click here, and once you have your people, then you can divide them up into categories, okay? But right now I don't have any students, so I can't show you what that looks like, but just so you know that yes, you can divide your students. Now, here where it says assign to, it says everyone, but that doesn't mean everyone as in the whole school. It just means everyone who is signed up for this course, okay? You can also add other teachers, you can add the administrators, you can add whoever you want. But where it says everyone, they mean everyone who signed up for this course, okay? Now, the due date is very important. So let's say that this task is due for today at, let's change the time. If the class is finished at 2, then I want to put at 1:59 p.m. Okay, so it's going to be available from today at 11:45. Sorry. And then till today at 1:59, right? That's the day that it's due. So you want to make sure that these are very specific when you're creating assignments or discussions, because this will let you know once you've established this, if a student posts their assignment 2 days later, it's going to read the assignment, but it's going to let you know that this was a late post, okay? And then you can save your assignment if you want to come back. Like I would save this one because it's not complete. I still need to edit this. I can add pictures. I can be a little bit more specific. So I can save it. But once I'm ready for students to see this and start working on it, then I click on save and publish. And that is how you create assignments. Again, very simple. Canvas is very user friendly, but I'm hoping that this gives you an idea of how to create assignments and why modules are very important. So thank you.